I posted this into the thing. Yeah, there's a link, and I'm live. Excellent. Here we are. All right. Just to give you a heads up so we're all on the same page. When we get back, I will only have 7 class periods until your final exam. I want you to think about that. Yeah, I know, right? I will only have 7 class periods until your final exam. We're going to be doing some more stuff with basketball today. Just giving you all a heads up, you will need your Chromebooks because on your Chromebook, you'll know how you have that calculator built in. You're going to need that graphing calculator. You're going to need that today for what I got in store for you. Oh, you'll see. You'll see. But what I have up here, I have up the final championship matchup in our fantasy football. Philadelphia. Why'd you name him Philadelphia? Your team. Why'd you put Philadelphia on there? That's weird. It's just weird. Why would you do that? I'm going to change the name. I can do that. I'm the league manager. I can do whatever I want. Anyway, I'm not going to do it now. Hold on. Who's in trouble? It's Marcus' turn. Hold on one second. Hold on. I gotta check one thing. It's none of you guys, so don't worry. Where am I? Hello. I may have mixed up a student with the masks on sitting in the wrong desk. Is Alexis Osborne absent? Because I think I may have mixed them up. Okay, I may have mixed them up then, because the student may have not been sitting at the right desk. Yeah. Okay, I apologize for that. Bye-bye. Okay. All right. Cool. So, what I want to do today is this. I have a PDF that I'm about to put into the Google Stream that I want you all to look at. I'm going to put it up on the main board. There it is. I'm going to put it up on the main board. But of course, it's in your Google Drive Classroom for you to look at. But what I have here is a table of each NBA team from the 2016-2017 season, showing their field goal percentage versus the number of games that they won in that particular season. Now, there's a lot of indicators as to whether or not your team is a good NBA team. Obviously, good shooting is good. Good defense is good. You want low turnovers. You want high free throw percentage. There's a whole bunch of different things that you can boil it down to. But what some experts really look at is the team field goal percentage. And they try to make a determination like, okay, could we make a prediction as to how many games a team would win if they had a certain field goal percentage? So perhaps you're not looking for a flashy name. You're not trying to build a mega team. No, they didn't call it. What do they call it? They don't call them mega teams. What did they call it when it was down in Miami with like James and Wade and Bosch? What? A big 3 team? I don't know. I thought super team. Is that what they call them? Okay. You don't need a super team to do that. You need a team that can shoot well and that can make shots. They don't have to have big names and big contracts. Gosh. Goodness gracious. I don't know. Who's going to win the NBA season this year? Is that a guarantee? Not a guarantee. Is that a very high chance? Oh, okay. We'll see what happens. So what I want to do is I want to take this data, and I need you to do this in your graphing calculators. on your Chromebooks, we need to enter this data into our graphing calculators. Now, where we enter that data, I am going to show you in a moment, because I have a calculator that I'm going to bring up on my screen. But like I said, you definitely need to see this PDF that I posted in the Google Classroom stream, because obviously you don't want to be straining your eyes looking at all of this. You want to be looking at what's at your computer screen. All of this data, we are going to enter in to our graphing calculators. Now, I got this on my computer. This calculator is pretty darn close to what you have, although what you have on your screens with your calculators is just like the vertical rectangular bar. Question mark? Okay, thanks for the answers. But mine's a little bit different because they put the screen to the right and they put the thing over here, which is kind of nice. I like that. But here's what you need to do. First, you're going to hit the Stat button. Now, the Stat button is near the middle of your calculator, kind of the middle top, right about here. And if you click Stat, you come to this screen. This is where you need to go for today. Then I am going to go in the word Edit. Going inside the word Edit brings me to this screen. This is the screen with your lists. It is a list of lists, so to speak. It's got L1 through L6 and all that fun stuff. This is where I want to enter in that information. Now, of course, on your calculator screen, it might be a little bit easier to see because you can just click and drag your calculator out of the way. But for me, it might be a little bit weird. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do here. Maybe I'll just zoom in right here. We'll see. Well, let me just take a look at the first few numbers. I got 0.451, 0.454, 0.444. So in my calculator, I would do 0.451, 0.454, 0.444, and I'd keep going from there. I need to enter in all of that data. Then I want to enter in the appropriate data into L2. Now I'm gonna actually enter it all in myself, as you will be in a few minutes. But then in L2, I'm gonna enter in the number of wins that correspond to that field goal percentage, which in this case for Atlanta, Boston, and Brooklyn, it was 43, 53, and 20. 43, 53, 20. Now, all I have are 3 ordered pairs right here. That's all I have. I have 3 ordered pairs. I am about to enter all of the data in for these NBA teams, and I need you to do the same as well. So everyone take a few minutes. Enter in the data field goal percentage in the first column, number of wins that correspond to that team's field goal percentage in the second column. We'll reconvene in a few minutes, and I'll show you what you're going to do next. Enter in that data. Let's see. Let's see. I got to double check that I entered it all in correctly. I know. I'm a genius. I couldn't hear you. He was laughing. Did what? Something like. Okay. Did you enter in a ton of data, or you just want to start from scratch? Okay. If you X out the calculator and then reopen it, I believe that when you reopen it, it'll automatically say RAM cleared. Does that work? Okay. Well, there are alternate ways to do it. But that for the Chromebook calculator, that's the best way. I'm gonna double check my data, make sure I got it correct. Yeah, all teams, all NBA teams. I just did it on the computer. Well, you got the keyboard, you got the little number pad. That's true. Well, even if I was using the top line, it may take me like an extra 30 seconds. I'm not expecting you guys to get them done as fast as me. That's not the point. The point is what we're going to do with the data. You'll see. Now, I caution you, and I'm cautioning myself in the same way, that if you close out your calculator and open it again, all that data will be gone. So don't close it out. I'm just double checking that all my data is what it should be. Yep, there it is. I made one mistake there.
So you're telling me if we make a mistake, we gotta restart?
No, not that you have to restart it, but there may just look what I'm doing right now. I didn't restart the whole thing, did I? I'm just very casually checking my data points one at a time to make sure that I entered them all in correctly. There we go. 30 NBA teams. There are people that basically spend their careers doing what they call data entry. Data entry is not necessarily the most exciting of careers.
I don't think anybody.
You don't think anybody what?
You're saying someone like sits here like 8, 9 to 5.
Well, they do more than just that. I'm saying the data entry part of the job is not the interesting part. The interesting part is how you can use the data to do an analysis. For example, I've mentioned I've been in a fantasy league with my brother-in-law for 14 years. Now, I didn't type in all of that data in one shot. It took me a few weeks to enter in all that data. But once that data is in there, I can now take that raw data and I can run various analysis on it based on certain programs and formulas that I know how to do in Excel. That is the more interesting part of the job. Data entry is just the more painstaking part of the job. But I wouldn't doubt it, actually. I bet you there are people who just basically 9 to 5 just enter data, you know? They probably don't get paid much. The real money comes from the people who can dig into the data and get proper information out of the data. That's what we're doing today. A few years ago, the Golden State Warriors won 73 games. NBA record for wins. Somebody tell me why that season is not that remarkable. They didn't win the championship, yeah. Whose record did they beat? What was the Bulls' record? 72. They had 72-10. The Bulls, in turn, had beaten a Lakers record from generations prior. But that's besides the point. I watched a video the other day that talked about the Lakers dynasty of Kobe and Shaq, and how the reason why the Kobe-Shaq dynasty happened was because of the 1994 baseball strike. What was Michael Jordan doing in 1994? He's playing baseball. 1994 Major League Baseball strike. Dude comes back to basketball. They beat the Orlando Magic in the conference finals. Shaq is disillusioned, doesn't get the big money contract that he wants, goes to LA. All because of the 94 baseball strike. Now, I'm going to be writing down some of this stuff in our notes in a little bit. But while you're finishing up this data, let me show you what you could do with it, for those of you that do have it done. And of course, I'll go through this a couple of times. First, I want to look at a scatter plot. Here's the easiest, most fundamental way to look at a scatter plot. If on your calculators you hit second and y equals, if you hit second and y equals, you come to this screen, stat plot. What do you notice about all those plots? Second stat plot. What do you notice about all those plots? They're all off. Let's turn one of them on. Let's turn the first one on. If they're all off, we got to turn one of them on. So let's go into the first one. And if you click on the word on, boom, it's on. Now, what's nice is you don't have to change anything else. You don't have to change anything else because the type of graph that it is set to is scatter plot. Don't change that. The X list and the Y list are automatically L1 and L2, the data that you entered. Don't change that. You just have to do one other thing. If you hit zoom, and now look down at my 9th option. I think you have the same 9th option, right? Zoom stat. Go down to zoom stat. And you should get this, or something very close to this. I'm going to go through those steps in a moment. I'm going to go through those steps again in a moment. I suggest that if you do have the screen up here, I need you to do a couple things for me. If you hit trace, if you hit the trace button, you can actually scroll through these data points. I need you to tell me, and we're going to find this out together in a little bit, but I need you to find out who was this team, who was this team, and who was that team. We'll find those out together in a little bit, but if I'm going to go through the steps of creating the scatter plot in a moment. But if while you're waiting, you want to find out who those 3 teams were, we can talk about that. So here are the steps. Number 1, You got to make sure you enter your data correctly into L1 and L2. Now, if your data points are slightly off, then your results may not be perfect, but we'll deal with that in a little bit. If you hit second y equals takes you to this screen, stat plot, in which originally all of the plots are turned off. We turn one of them on. To turn it on, you hit enter to get into that plot. And then you click enter to turn it on. Everything else is set the way it needs to be already. You don't have to change anything else. And then finally, if you click zoom, this will resize the window correctly to what it needs to be. In this case, zoom 9 is zoom stat. Now, there are 3 teams up there that I got to figure out who the heck they are. If you hit trace, you can actually scroll through all of these data points by hitting the arrow keys. If I go through these arrow keys, first of all, I get this down here. I wanted to hit a couple of the extremes here. This team had a 44.4 field goal percentage and only 20 wins. Who the heck were they? Brooklyn? The Brooklyn Nets. Brooklyn. Man, I was so excited when the Nets moved to Brooklyn. I thought, you're finally going to have like a Brooklyn championship. Nope. I guess not. They did? The Warriors aren't that good, though. Not anymore. Didn't they have like a terrible season?
They got Wiseman. Yeah, that's it. Everyone got hurt last year.
All right.
But the Nets almost dropped 150.
They got to keep it up. Let's see. Oh, there we go. That team up there. That team had not only the highest field goal percentage, but they had the highest number of wins. Who were they? Warriors? Golden State Warriors. What was the name of the Warriors? It wasn't the Golden State Warriors. Who were they originally? And before that? Yeah. They were the San Francisco Warriors for a while. No. Who were they before San Francisco? You not know? Nope. Nope. Check it out. They were the San Francisco Warriors from 62 to 71, and before that, they were the Philadelphia Warriors. You're like, California?
No, I was supposed to Baltimore.
Okay. Baltimore used to be the Wizards. The Washington Wizards used to be the Washington Bullets, used to be the Baltimore Bullets. Anyway, we got to find that last team. That last team in the extreme over here. Oh, there we go. Who's that? Were they really Memphis? 43.5% and 43 wins? Cool. Now, these are more of the extremes. Now, I would say that the Golden State Warriors are above and beyond the extreme. This was the 2016-2017 season. They won the championship this year, or that year. They lost it in 2016 to Cleveland, didn't they? They lost it in 2017? I thought they lost it when they won 73 games. Yeah. Well, yeah. No, because that was 2016, because that was the year that Cleveland thought they were also going to win the World Series. The World Series. Yeah, the Cleveland unnamed baseball team. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. But these are they're not necessarily outliers, but they're kind of on the extremes of the data. Now, if you follow the data, there seems to be a trend. The trend being that the higher the field goal percentage, the more wins a team tends to have. You don't see a team shooting almost 50% winning like 30 games. It would be crazy. And you don't see a team shooting 40% winning 60 games. You don't see that either. For the most part, every single one of these teams follows a basic trend, a linear trend. Now, we're going to run an analysis on this. See, because when you put together an NBA team, how many guys are on a basic NBA roster? Is it like 12 or 13? Yeah, 12 or 13 players, right? Or let's go with 12, right? If you're putting together a team, you don't just want to go with like big names. You want to have people who can shoot. You want to have people who can defend, yes, and rebound and all that other stuff, but you want people who can shoot the ball. You want to be able to pass the ball around. You don't want to go to the same person with the ball every single time. I'm just saying, if Steph Curry takes 100% of the shots, you're just going to put like more people guarding him. Isn't that logical? I'm just saying, if he takes 100% of the shots. Now, obviously, he doesn't take 100% of the shots. They have a good team around him. Because it's not just Steph Curry.
He does if he takes the first shot.
Goodness gracious. Who else is a big name on the Warriors besides Steph Curry? Klay Thompson.
He was. I don't know if he was.
Durant doesn't play for them anymore, do they?
I don't know. He played for Brooklyn.
There you go. Yeah. I'm just saying, Curry's not the only guy. Just like Michael Jordan's not the only guy. Michael Jordan won 6 championships, yes, but he didn't win 6 championships until they built a team around him. Yeah, of course he was a big part of it, but they kept losing before him. Think about LeBron James. LeBron James on a team by himself is not going to win a championship. He needs players around him. Now, he didn't carry Cleveland the first number of years of his career. They lost to the San Antonio Spurs when they got to the championship round. And then when he went to the Heat, even with a mega team with the Heat, they lost the first time around. Did what? Wait, no, not the first time around. Who did the Heat lose to? The Heat lost to the Mavs, right? Yes, it was.
His second loss was to an even better team.
I don't think the Mavs were a super team. The Spurs, not the first time around. They were not a super team until after that. That was the first championship for, I think, Tony Parker, wasn't it? Anyway, but regardless. Here's what we're going to do. I want to write down some of this information, and then I want to come back to this. Do not close out your calculator. Do not close out your calculator. Instead, I'm going to need those notebooks out and open. Do not close the calculator.
I'm not even closing my computer.
Good. Don't close the computer. I'm just saying, because if you do, all of that data will be erased. Okay? That's why I'm trying to warn you ahead of time. I'm sorry. I shouldn't laugh, but I will. Yes. That sounds like collusion.
How about you go cut a tree in your backyard?
I don't even know what that references to.
So he can get a piece of paper. Never has one.
That was a deep cut joke. Stat, edit, to enter data.
Oh my God.
Any what? All up there. I got paper, pencils, erasers, all up there. So, basketball linear regression. Stat, edit, to enter your data. From there, if you hit second y equals enter to turn on plot. I'm just walking you through the steps that we did earlier to get this information. Stat edit to enter your data. Second y equals enter to go turn on the plot. And then finally, zoom 9 to resize the graph. This is just the 3-step approach to getting a scatter plot, to eventually do what we're going to do with what we call a linear regression. Because we are going to find an equation that could help us potentially predict how many wins a team could have if they had a certain shooting percentage. Stat edit to enter the data. Second y equals enter to turn on the plot. Zoom 9 to resize the graph. That gets you the scatter plot. Let's see here. I know, right? Now, this gets a scatter plot you can describe form, which in this case could be linear or not. You could describe direction. Direction meaning positive, negative, etc. In this case, it was a positive regression. You could describe strength, which I'm going to talk about a little bit later. That's a TBD for now. And you could describe outliers. Now, for the most part, looking at that scatter plot that we had, you could theoretically call the Golden State Warriors a bit of an outlier simply because that data point seems to be farther away than the rest of the data. However, there is something to be said. There is something to be said about that data point being in line with the rest of the data. It seems to follow that trend way more than the rest of those teams. Now, we are going to calculate in a moment. I'm sorry, let me rephrase. You're going to have your calculators calculate a line of best fit. You are going to have your calculator calculate a line of best fit. But first, you must turn your diagnostics on. You're like, what the heck is a diagnostic? Oh, goodness. Your calculator can do all sorts of crazy things. I mean, if you had the handheld calculators, you'd be able to see what they can do. Unfortunately, I can't do that because you guys, you don't have the handheld calculators nowadays. But you can still turn your diagnostics on for what we're going to do here. Turn diagnostics on. Do any of you remember when I showed you that the calculators could talk? Okay. Do you remember where we had to go in order to find that function? You don't remember? All right, that's cool.
Last year.
Yeah.
I don't remember last year.
But you do remember me showing you the calculators could talk? Yeah. That was a great day.
I was so mad. I went to lunch so pissed.
We all bet against you.
What are you talking about?
The whole class said the calculator couldn't tell.
Yeah, and I showed you.
Why would you-
Anyway, here's what you got to do. In order to turn your diagnostics on, look at my calculator up here. You got to hit second, 0, and this brings you to the catalog. This brings you to an alphabetical listing of every function on the calculator. Now, instead of scrolling forever and ever and ever and ever and ever, look where my mouse is right here. I'm kind of moving my mouse right there. You can't really see it that well. But you know how above every button you have like a little green letter? That little green letter, there's an alpha lock on there. And that little green letter, if you click the button with the D, with the little green D, it will take you directly down to the Ds on the catalog. Like that. So from there, you can go down to the function entitled diagnostic on. That's the one that you want. You need to turn the diagnostics on. There's a reason why we need to turn the diagnostics on. You'll see that in a few minutes, but you need to make sure that your diagnostics are on. The way you do that, again, you hit second, 0, go to diagnostics or diagnostic on to turn that on. Second 0 will take you to the catalog. You could scroll down to the Ds, or you could hit that little green D to jump straight down. But you need to turn those diagnostics on. Then we're going to do this. It's going to be the last little set of directions on this line of best fit thing. On the calculator, if you hit stat, which we've been there before, but this time you tab over to calc. The one that we need is the 4th option, lin reg. Lin reg is short for linear regression. That's what we need. Linear regression. Now, don't change anything. Don't change anything. X list is L1, Y list is L2. Good. Don't worry about anything else. Just go down to calculate. You don't have to change anything. Just go down to calculate. Boom. You get this information. Now, if you did this correctly, you should get exactly the numbers that I got, if you have all your numbers typed in correctly.
Lucky, I don't have the R2 and the R3.
Did you turn your diagnostics on?
Yeah.
If you turn your diagnostics on, that's where the R and R squared show up. Here, let's just walk through it one more time real quick. Okay, ready? If you just hit clear. No. This button right here. This button right here. Okay? Hit second, 0. We get to the catalog, right? Let me go down to the Ds, which, like I said, if you hit that little green D, it'll jump you down to the Ds, and go down to the function that says diagnostic on. Okay, now watch me. If you get here, you have to hit enter one more time for it to say done.
Yeah, I did that.
Okay, so it says diagnostic on, done. Okay, now hit stat. Go over to calc. Go down to the fourth option, which is lin reg. Now you get this screen, right?
Yeah, go down.
Yeah, don't change anything. Did it work? Sweet. Maybe you just didn't hit enter on that diagnostic on or something like that. But that's what you need. Now, I'm going to write down those numbers in a moment, but first let me go over here. To get equation, you're going to want to hit stat. You're going to want to tab to calc. Because it's not a function, you got to tab over to calc. You hit the 4th option, which is lin reg. and just calculate. Don't change anything. And it should give you a linear equation that we are going to use in a moment. You hit Stat, you tab over to Calc, you hit the fourth option, which is linreg, and it is going to calculate something for us. And what it calculates is this. And I'm going to write this down. And then I'm going to show you exactly what I wrote down. There we go. Here are the numbers I wrote down. The numbers that I wrote down, the numbers that they gave me were a value of A, which is your slope, a value of B, which is your y-intercept, and a value of R. Now, yes, I gave you an R squared. I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to give you the R for now. This is the line of best fit, and the calculator will do it for you. This is the prediction equation. This is the equation that we can use to predict how many wins an NBA team should have given a certain shooting percentage. X, in this case, is field goal percentage, and Y is the predicted number of wins. X is the field goal percentage, Y is the predicted number of wins. So as an NBA team, if I wanted to improve and I had this big money contract with this guy who was shooting 35%, and I decided, you know what? I think we could do better. Let me get this kid right here. He's a second-year player. He's only making a couple $1 million. Let me give him a small contract. He's shooting like 40%. He can help our team's shooting percentage. If he improves our team's shooting percentage, then by the end of the season, we may be able to squeak out a few extra wins. And those few extra wins might get us in the playoffs. Maybe. You never know. There are certain teams that they just make the playoffs every year. Well, I was thinking basketball, but sure. But there are little decisions that you can make as not the team owner, but more like the general manager. As the general manager or even the coach, which sometimes the coach is the general manager. But you can make these decisions to make your team slightly better. And if you can make your team slightly better, perhaps you can get better positioning in the playoffs. And like you said, maybe make a run. Who knows? Once you get in the playoffs, there's no telling what's going to happen. No. It shouldn't be one game, but at the same time, back in the 90s and the 80s and stuff like that, the first round was best of 5. It was a little better. It is too long. I agree. Way, way, way back in the day, baseball used to be best of 9 in the World Series. Yeah. I know. In the World Series, mind you, if you look it up. But anyway, I digress. Again, this information that I got from my calculator. 546.13, I rounded it. There's the A value, negative 208.69. There's the B value. Now check this out. Look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this. Click. 546.13 X minus 208.69. I just entered in that equation into my Y equals key, and I'm going to hit graph. Chapow. Look at that. Now, this tells us a number of different things. That blue line is a prediction equation. That blue line is the predicted number of wins based on field goal percentage. That's what it is. The Golden State Warriors overperformed. They overperformed. They outperformed the linear regression. I forget, who is this? The Nets? This is Brooklyn down here? Yeah. Brooklyn clearly underperformed. What the heck, Brooklyn? There are some teams that overperformed, but like, okay, I mean, yeah, you got more wins than we were expecting, but this was Memphis, right? Good for them. But this is what the prediction equation does. You can figure out how many wins that your team is supposed to get or should be getting or something along those lines. All right. That's mainly what I wanted to do today. I wanted to show you how to do something with that. Now, for the sake of argument, let's just say, I don't know, give me a field goal percentage between 40 and 50%. Make it like three random digits to start with a 4. 462. Let's do that. 462. We'll do that. Yeah. I can make a prediction now. So if my team has a .462 field goal percent, then let's see, 546.13 times 0.462 minus 208.69. I'm going to plug that junk in. Let's see what happens. Boom. We are predicted to have approximately 43.6 wins. Predicted. Good question. If your team goes 500, what's your record in the NBA? They play 82. So 41 and 41. Right? 41. I'm going to take a quick peek. Now I don't want to look at the last season because that's like an anomaly. I want to look at the season before. So let's look at the 2018-2019 NBA season. Let's see, what did you have to do to make the playoffs? I know I passed the standings. I was hoping for conference standings. Whatever. Let's see. Brooklyn went 5-12. They made the playoffs with 42 wins. The Pistons made the playoffs 41 and 41. Look at them. Look at the Southeast. Are they really that bad? The Southeast Division? Look at that. Only one team made the playoffs.
No, this is the wrong year because the Heat were in the
All those teams are trying to
No. I went 2018, 2019 because last season was an anomaly. And I don't want to do that. And then in the West, the West at a minimum, you needed 48 wins. In the East, at a minimum, 41. So depends on what conference you're in. That's going to answer that question. Okay. To wrap up today, because we got, what do we got? Roughly 5 minutes. I'm going to throw quizzes at you. You should still be logged in, right? Let's see. I'll do this one. Start a live one. Classic. You know what? I'm going to get rid of redemption questions. I know, right? Let's do it.
Is it a Christmas one?
No, it's sports.
Is it good?
We'll see.
20 questions?
I think there's like 15 to 20, but they should go by pretty quickly. You'll see. I got to type the code in for those who are in the live stream. 493620. There we go. 493620 for those of you that are in the live stream. I just typed the code into the chat. This one should go by pretty quickly. Like I said, we have about 5 minutes. I only got about 9 people in there right now. Oh, y'all. Yeah, let me change my screen over real quick. Extend. Come on, you. Dashboard, move that over there. There we go. Good. I'm just saying, it's good music. All right. Now, if you haven't joined yet, the code should still be at the top of the screen after I click start. It should be written in white. So if you didn't join, make sure that you do. But I'm going to click so we can get this thing started. Click. Some of this stuff might be from a couple of years ago, just so you know. So it's 12 out of 15 done. There's like 13 out of 15 done. There's 30 seconds.
I didn't know my stuff. I didn't know my stuff.
What did you not know?
No, I didn't know the song. I didn't know the
We
song.
got the same exact.
Are you sure?
16.
Is that true?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
You're fair.
Nice.
That would be the most though.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I put.
No, I put it wrong. That's not good.
All right, I gotta end it there.
Because you're
Click.
sorry, Robinson.
Click. So y'all can see the ending up there. There it goes. Woo! We'll see you all next time. See you guys. Have a good one.
Merry Christmas.
Yay!
Enjoy your holiday.